So I've been having a fun time going back and forth with some friends of mine about the red blue button game, right? And basically, to restate the question, you're presented with two buttons, and everyone in the world is presented with these same buttons. There's a red button where if you press the red button, you survive. But unless a majority, over 50% of people in the world press the blue button, then everyone else who presses the blue button dies. So if you press the blue button and 51% of people press the blue button, or more than 50% press the blue button, then nobody dies. My initial thoughts when I was presented with this were, one, the contrarian in me says that, okay, this question is designed to make me either signal cooperation or make me look selfish. Right? And my initial attitude was not to hit the red button, right? To probably hit the blue button. But, I'm not really so convinced by the bean counter number cruncher argument that's like, oh, well, 100% chance of survival on the red button, for the sake of the logic. I don't find just the self-interested argument convincing. But as someone who has spent a large amount of time in service to other people, be that children or the elderly or the disabled, on some level, my argument for why, especially people whose instinct, like myself, was to hit the blue button, my argument for why they then have the moral duty to press the red button is that to press the blue button is to unnecessarily risk the extinction of blue button moral sentiment. Also, my life personally is, in my view, not really entirely my own to risk. That by unnecessarily, in a way, putting my own life at risk here, I endanger vast amounts of people around me. Vast is relative, but many people rely on me for many things. And so there is that angle. And then finally, if I am convinced, generally speaking, by the argument that with anything that you inherit from the past, from the people that came before you, no matter what it is, you should sort of try to the best of your ability to understand the why it was given to you and what you were sort of expected to do with it, why it's valuable, things of that nature, right? So when it comes to my own life, why did the people who created me, the people that I come from, give me this life? Well, I think that at the most basic level, you could argue they were self-interested in reproduction or whatever. You could argue that they thought that the reproductive act was pleasurable. So basically, you could make the hedonistic argument or like an evolutionary argument, but all of those arguments are kind of ways around saying I'm alive because people wanted me to live. And if the past gets a vote, all of we're just screaming now. If the past gets a vote, then the past would vote that I should live. That's so, you know, it may be distasteful, it may be uncouth not to signal cooperation. And in fact, you know, these people who endlessly game theory everything, I find very tiresome. But, you know, cooperation is ultimately in a lot of cases, the best strategy. And I appreciate that. And I would love to be cooperative. But, you know, the way that I had put it before, one of the ways that I phrased this is, I know that in the question, you don't get the opportunity to deliberate with anyone on it. But if you could, or even after you survived, right? Let's say there was a 15-minute delay after everyone presses the button, you know, before the consequences arrive. Well, what would you tell your young child to do? Or what would you tell them if you both pressed blue, or you told them that pressing blue was the correct choice, right? And then they asked you, well, Mom, Dad, what if everyone else votes to kill us? What would you tell them? Would you just tell them, well, those people are bad people? I think that's not that comforting when you're dead. And so, you know, I think you have to have the courage to take your own side. I don't remember who said it, but if you're not willing to use force to defend civilization, then be prepared to embrace barbarism, right? So, I'm not entirely sure that my position is the correct one, but that's my thought.